Nice.
Yeah.
Welcome, one and all, to Pacific414 Pop Talk. Tonight, we are talking about AEW All Out. I am your host, Mike. With me tonight are my tag team partners, King Pheenix.
Oh, yeah!
And from Over the Barricade podcast, he is the Over the Barricade podcast champion. He is also the Twitch champion, as far as I'm concerned, Quidman Jenkins.
Much appreciated. Thank you, sir.
Not a problem. So, in case you haven't heard, didn't know, haven't been following social media, and you're wondering, what are the three of us talking about tonight? Well, we're talking about this. AEW All Out, the return of CM Punk, and it had plenty of returns tonight and a lot of great action. A lot of great action from start to finish, and let's go ahead and talk about the card.
I'm down for that.
That's a tall order right there.
You want to throw me the
Stacked
first match
card.
you have it written down for me? I'm so written in circles by watching that show that I have no clue where anything fell anymore.
That's why I wrote it down.
Smart move. Very smart move.
I was actually really pleased with the choice of the opener. Going with Miro versus Eddie Kingston. Great way to start off. Which might I just say real quick, I feel like Eddie Kingston is exactly what King Pheenix would be in a wrestling ring. I get big time King Pheenix vibes from Eddie Kingston.
Thank you very much. I got to say that's super high praise, number one, for the stiffness. Super high praise, number two, because the man is probably the best promo in the business.
Redeem these nuts.
That was so awesome. I mean, the crowd in Chicago. Wow. Let's talk about the crowd during that match, during all the matches. I mean, when it came to Miro and Eddie Kingston, I wasn't sure what we were going to get. I thought maybe Miro would go over Kingston, in a 5-minute match, a la WWE, although this isn't WWE.
No, sir. No.
And just the story that those two gentlemen told in the ring, the false finishers and, going outside of the ring, going inside the ring.
I'm going to go on record. I'm going to say it. Eddie Kingston versus Miro is my favorite program on AEW right now. Nice. I was so hoping that we would get some sort of inconclusive finish, which what we did in fact get, for the reason that I need to see more of these guys. Okay. Yeah. This match, the tiny bit of TV time that those two got, they literally turned into gold. Now, I really want to see AEW keep going with this. I want to see them get more TV time and really put some legs on this rivalry.
Oh yeah. No,
and next time it's not going to be the opener.
Yeah, God no. But they needed a hot opener for this crowd. If you're the one thing that they've always had the smart, at least the foresight for, all their pay-per-views start out with a super hot opener. I mean, even it's not like we live in that age of almost where you go like they were curtain jerkers on other things. But comparatively, they've had the Bucks open shows before. So I'm just like, if you've got guys that are your EVPs playing as opener, then I think we're killing the idea of the opening slot.
Absolutely.
Which is awesome, because this crowd, you needed to come in hot. If you came in just even half-cocked, you would have been screwed.
Well, I mean,
even the pre-matches, the crowd was hot for the pre-match.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Some of the most creative wrestling I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. That's putting it lightly. That was insane. I agree with you so much.
On the note though about the opening match, I think it's easy to get almost a stigma around the opening match role. But I mean, if you look throughout history, arguably the greatest opening match of all time, in my opinion, is Brett versus Owen. That was an opening match. And it stole the show. So, I mean, when you have a history of openers where you have something like that in there, I think AEW is trying to erase the stigma, as you said, Phoenix, when you have the EVPs opening it. Let's get rid of this idea that the opening match is just the curtain jerker, these just randos that are just walking in. No, the opening match can and should be a fantastic storytelling match.
It should be a dare. It should be dare to follow me.
Exactly.
So just everybody else has to follow it, and it keeps going.
Hold my beer.
Exactly.
Well, it's like in baseball, you have the leadoff hitter. The leadoff hitter is supposed to set the table, supposed to get on base for everyone else to follow. Well, that's exactly what Miro and Kingston did tonight. They let it off, and they said, okay, next.
And I would say it's like, of course, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say,
go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Miro on this one, like, you always had that strong feeling. Like, I love Eddie to death, but Miro was a force of nature. Yes. So in your head, you're like, oh man, he's going to get squashed. No, none of such. And it's like he even went after the head, like he's been saying for like weeks, that he's just going to send him back to his god.
Yep. Well, how about my man's chest?
Oh yeah.
Hurt me watching.
Yep. I said it going into it. I said, just looking at the preview card for that, just looking at the little, the versus screen, I got bruises just looking at that.
Yes.
And that's what it was supposed to be. It definitely lived up to expectations.
Agreed. Very much so.
Mike, I think you're about to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had said to Scott during the pay-per-view as we're watching it, just as Miro, the former Rusev, was getting over in WWE squashed it, and they killed any momentum he had.
Yep.
I had no clue what they were working with.
No.
It's like you actually, like, it is so funny because I remember watching him at the start in NXT as Alexander Rusev, and he came in like a house on fire. You move him up, you give him something. I mean, we can't even say he had a WrestleMania match against Cena in a tank. So it's like they had faith, but for some reason they just look at their toys and they go, well, I don't like this anymore. Toss it to the side.
Yeah.
Well, that's Vince for you.
It is. I was just getting ready to say that's what Vince does. Vince, I feel like he gets these like weird lucid dreams where he just sees this superstar in some weird fetish scenario and he wakes up, book it, damn it, book it. And it's just like, it's got to be like, we're going to have him be a cuckold. Like, that's what we got to do because I dreamed it.
And then you
what
look
the
at
hell
Tony
is
Khan,
this card?
Who's been booking it. God damn it, every time. I love it, man. But you look at Tony Khan, he was talking about he's been fantasy booking since he was 12.
Yes.
And he's showing it. Like the dude kills.
Absolutely.
Well, think about it. During the heyday of WWF and WCW, we had the dream matches that we wanted to see. Well, now we can still have those dream matches because guys who were never pushed in WWE like you had hoped will jump over to AEW, and you're going to see matches that you wanted to see against guys that are in the indies. You hear so much about them, but they're not given the time of day in WWE because you're too small, damn it.
I don't like tiny people.
Can we talk about a potential dream match now that the Young Bucks have dropped the title?
Yeah.
Now, granted, it might not come for a little while because such a person was inserted into the main event so quickly. But, can we talk about the shits that will be dropped if Bryan Danielson and CM Punk team up to take on the Young Bucks? Dream
that's right.
match.
That is going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome.
I agree, 100%. They've also had a great chemistry to begin with. Like you can watch any promo that inserted those two back when they were still rocking it. Amazing.
Yeah, 100.
All right, so
okay, let's get back to that first match.
Well, yeah. Let's continue on with the first match. I mean, all the false finishers that were in that match, went on the outside of the ring, like I said. Do you think they did the smart thing by having Miro retain the TNT Championship?
Yes.
100%. Yes.
Okay.
I think it just makes sense. He's too early in his phase as the Redeemer.
Yeah.
And then if you really want to, if you want a fantasy book, I would say it's almost a wild card. I think it should be Kip Sabian to take it from him. Come back from already being wrecked by him in an injury thing, and then all the stuff that he's done to him, to come back like that, I think that would be the hottest angle to throw with that. But it's going to be a while.
Bold call. I like it. I like it. I agree with the finish 100%. I agree with the decision. I agree with the method. Like I said, you needed to have this continue. If Eddie wins, it's over. It's too certain of a finish. And honestly, even if Miro had won clean, it's still too certain of a finish. So yeah, exactly. This needs to continue. Miro winning was the only way for this to continue, and Miro winning exactly the way he did was the best way to do it.
Agreed.
Keeps the believability.
Now, I know in WWE he had Lana as a manager. Do you feel that if they were to add a manager to his character now in AEW, would that hurt his character or help his character?
Now, the best part is the reason that they had a mouthpiece for him when they first started is they didn't have trust in him to actually be a promo. They thought, the Bulgarian man wouldn't be able to, get over with the U.S. audience. So that's why they gave him a mouthpiece, because they were like, oh, he can't do it. Now he's become a hell of a promo. So that's where you run into the thing is like, when you have a manager, you usually throw him with somebody who's not that good or somebody you kind of want to throw him to the side with. And if you do that, does it take away from his promo time?
Yeah. He's doing such a great thing. And I think it's very specific in the way you worded it. Would it help or hurt him? That's a different question, because if you ask the question, does he need it? Absolutely not. The question of would it help him or hurt him? It depends on how they do it. Not only what King Pheenix said, he's a hell of a promo now, but the thing about what AEW is doing with their bad guys is they're letting their big bads be big bads. In WWE, a guy like Miro would look weak in and week out. He'd always win cheaply. He'd always run away. Miro in AEW is wrecking shop.
Yep.
And they allow their bads to do that. So does he need it? Absolutely not. Does not need a manager. But could it help him? Maybe if they did it right. Doesn't need it, but it might.
Because from what I saw in his match against Eddie Kingston tonight, reminded me a lot of the classic heels who didn't need a mouthpiece. They can go out there, work in the ring, put the guy that they're facing over and not damaging him too much, but also making themselves still look strong.
Exactly. It's beautiful.
Yep.
Okay, so the next match we are going to talk about is Jon Moxley versus Kojima.
Dude, that was amazing. And just like, if anybody, now the best part about it is if somebody came in tonight just because of the whole Punk thing, you're seeing almost NJPW Jon Moxley, which is really kind of awesome because I've been watching all of them over there and seeing that, I was like, oh, stiff, strong style, beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I had mentioned just a couple days ago was this match really added to the diversity of this card. This was a loaded show with all kinds of different styles, from traditional to modern high flying to the extremes to just good old storytelling. And then you throw in that New Japan Pro Wrestling style in there as well. This match really, to me, helped make this as complete of a card as it was. Was it, again, and I mentioned this to Mike before we went on, not every match is supposed to be a 5-star match. People get it confused. Not every match is supposed to be 5 stars. Matches are supposed to do what they're supposed to do. And this match did exactly what it was supposed to do. I applaud it. It was exactly what we needed. And I don't think it needed to be anything more than it was. I thought it was great.
100%. And popping for, seeing friggin' Suzuki show up at the end. Seeing Minoru show up, and we're going to get a Dynamite match with Minoru and Moxley. It's going to be amazing. So it's like, yeah, I agree with you 100%. It hits where it makes me feel that this is going to be awesome. But it doesn't have to be barn burner, flip everything out at once.
Exactly. And it also gives great exposure to, some people that you might not have heard of as an American wrestling fan. If you're the kind of guy like myself who, I've watched a couple Wrestle Kingdoms here and there, but I've never followed it religiously to know who Satoshi Kojima was. Like, I had no idea who the guy was. So my expectations for this match were blind. The only thing I knew was Jon Moxley. So I wasn't sure what to expect. And it definitely didn't disappoint me.
And I was in that same boat because I've been out of wrestling for, almost 7 years. The last wrestling event I went to was with you guys up in Norfolk for the SmackDown taping. You're
Great
giving
show.
The Mick Foley thumbs up. Dude.
Cheap pop, man. Come on. If you're going to play this game, we got to do it, baby. Right
I
here.
know, man. I know. You know I'm going to give you a hard time. You know I'm going to give you a hard time. But,
should.
that was, the last match, wrestling event too that I went to. And, Scott, you were telling me that you and Josh have gone to a few wrestling events. I'm sure you've gone to a few DJ yourself. And
No, believe it or not.
Because it's like I living in Austin, I literally have been to 2 AEW events. I was at the first night of Fyter Fest, and stuff was amazing. I mean, I've had moments like I still look at Britt Baker as she is now, and I think of the time she tried to insult us about Whataburger, and she got chanted Whataburger till she left. She couldn't get past it. So Austin is an amazing town when it comes to that, but also like DJ was saying, and like you were saying, how we how was it you may not be familiar with these New Japan guys. I'm paying 999 yen a month to get New Japan World. So it's like for a guy like me, I'm just nerding out.
Nice.
So
and there's
good,
nothing wrong with that, because for anyone who has ever watched professional wrestling, a lot of us know that the outcomes are, predetermined and everything, but we don't watch it for that reason. We watch it because of the athleticism that we see in the ring. And we saw a lot of that tonight. The athleticism, the story, like you just said, Scott. And that's what makes it special.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And, the Moxley Kojima match, it wasn't a long match, but it didn't have to be a long match. It was meant to be a long match.
Exactly.
Did what it needed. It's all about playing a role. Every match plays a role, and that match to a T. That's where you get the issue, is where you get a match that's supposed to do something and then they just fall flat and they don't deliver. As long as the participants deliver and the match does what it needs to do, there you go.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to have spots in it, doesn't have to have all these crazy things. It needs to sometimes it just needs to tell a story. And that match told the story.
Agreed.
Okay, so speaking of Dr. Britt Baker, DMB. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the match.
That was fantastic.
Absolutely. One of the better women's matches that I've seen in recent memory. And honestly, just to be completely honest, one of the better in general matches I've seen in recent memory, to be completely fair.
Do they come out playing for it all the time? Like they're ready to come out there and destroy. And Britt it's nice to see a tweener that's so hard trying to be a heel, but the fans are not allowing.
Not at all.
It's amazing.
And I'll admit, I'm a diehard Britt Baker fanboy. I love it. And maybe it's just because I'm a Pittsburgh Athletics fan. So, I got to cheer for Pittsburgh. But I love what Dr. Britt Baker's doing. And I have a hot take on this one. Dr. Britt Baker is currently the greatest champion in wrestling right now today.
Ooh,
that's my hot take.
And that's all around.
That's all around in all promotions. She is the greatest champion in professional wrestling today.
I like that.
And
I can't
what about
argue
her
that
opponent,
it has
Chris?
its points.
What do you think of her opponent, Chris? As far as
Chris
her
Statlander's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
She's built differently than anyone. She's got almost like she can go strong style, but she also does some pretty athletic stuff where you're just like, she's in there to do something. It's unique every time I watch a match of hers. Like even her finisher, like that she's been rocking, where she almost does that weird twisted up arm lock. It's so good.
It is.
And it's just like when you look at it, you're like, Britt has had great matches with everyone. She pulled great matches out of Red Velvet, and I'm sorry, Red Velvet is the greenest wrestler I've ever seen in a while. Like, I watched some matches with her, and if you can get that, when you've got somebody the level of Chris Statlander who's that good, you're going to get gold. It's just,
absolutely,
there's no way to not.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I really admire and not to be redundant here, but I really admired the story they told through this match. You know, they really put Chris Statlander as almost like a female Stone Cold, in the sense that she wouldn't quit. You could not pin her. You couldn't tap her. She had to be unconscious for that match to end, because she would not willingly, in her mind, allow herself to be defeated. Agreed. I loved that take. That was great booking. That's the difference between AEW and other promotions. Yep. Is the decision of how they book these matches. The style in which, like you said, Phoenix, you know, the style in which Chris Statlander uses throughout the match is just different. It's different. It's not what other women are doing. No other female wrestler is doing what she's doing currently. And, you know, to be able to blend that with a lot of the different opponents that she's doing, you know, and it puts on great matches.
She's on fire. Like, literally, like, I couldn't even imagine, like, there's people like we'll get to the other stuff later, who she's challenging her next. But comparatively, we're dealing with someone who's got to have that belt for a while.
Yeah.
It's just an inevitability to me.
But at the same time, while Britt Baker has to win, because like I said, she is the best champion in wrestling right now, she has to win that match. At the same time, Chris Statlander's too hot right now with the momentum, with the ability, the undefeated streak and everything. She was doing far too well to be pinned or submitted.
Agreed.
So definitely 100%. Like you said, you can't have Britt Baker drop that title right now.
No, I don't see it happening soon.
But on the other side, you couldn't have Chris Statlander look weak either. Not after you've come this far.
And they've also played at that fact that she didn't look weak at all.
Exactly.
Like, comparatively, they made everybody look like gold in that match.
Absolutely. And this is one of the better matches on the card, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I'll agree that this is definitely a top-tier match.
Yeah.
Not only that, because it gets to my point I was going to bring up, the fact that for the three of us, we have grown up and we've seen women's wrestling on WWE, you know, TNA, Impact, and many other promotions, even when it was WWF. And we've seen some good matches, and then we've seen some absolutely botch-fooled, terrible matches. But what we saw tonight, it was an awesome match.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And to be fair, you know, I want to agree with your statement and make it clear that that's not leaving AEW out of the absolutely horrible women's matches either. AEW's had its fair share of women's matches that are kind of hindering the women's revolution of professional wrestling. And, you know, it's like I mentioned recently, hey, maybe let's put, you know, if they want to do this and they have a passion to do it and they're willing to learn, that's awesome. Let's teach them. Let's show them how to do it. But maybe let's put them on AEW Dark for a little bit so that we can really capitalize. I mean, we just had NWA Empower, I think is what it was titled.
Yep. Whole female one.
Yeah, exactly. Let's capitalize on this right now. Let's put our best foot forward. Let's show these people what AEW can bring to women's wrestling and put that on television. And meanwhile, take these people who do have that passion, but not quite there yet. Put them on AEW Dark and let them get, you know, work with some people who can really show them what to do. Bring that next generation up.
Agreed.
Exactly. And to your point, remember how Trish Stratus looked when she first debuted as an in-ring competitor, and how rough she was at times, and then just how quickly she was able to improve, and the matches that she and Lita, for example, would put on. I mean, I still remember that episode of Raw where it was Trish and Lita main eventing.
Yep. Set
and
forth
how many
in
times
motion.
have you seen that? Yeah. How many times have you seen that since? Not too many.
Very rare.
Not until
Very
recently.
Yeah, it's like it's once in an occasion. Now the good part is, I can't remember which match it was, but I have seen at least one main event women's match in AEW history. I think it might have been Britt.
Probably. I think it was.
Oh, it was Britt and Thunder Rosa. It was the Lights Out match.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, there have also been some examples of women's main event matches that, you know, felt a little forced. I'm looking at you, Charlotte and Sasha.
I was just going to bring up a point. Charlotte and Sasha at that SmackDown taping Scott, you yelled out. You know what you yelled out. I'm not going to repeat it here. Even though
I've yelled out many things.
Even though I have the disclaimer.
There's certain things that we still, in this day and age that we've grown past, but I would still yell certain things at people.
Yeah. When you're there, when you're there.
You're there. You have fun.
You have to be there.
Yeah.
It was in the moment.
It was the heat of the moment.
But what I remember is Charlotte repeating it as she's pummeling Sasha. And
yes. God, I do remember that.
It was great.
Let's say I'm very inspirational to people with my voice.
Trendsetter.
Exactly. The crowd was in it. I've had some bad ones. SummerSlam. What was it? 02, I think it was.
If you ain't with me, you don't know what you're missing.
Exactly.
That's it right there. That's a good time.
The cheap pop.
Have a nice day.
Good
night, folks.
Click.
That's all, folks.
All right.
The greatest ending of a video ever.
Now, let's talk about probably the match of the night. The steel cage tag team match between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks.
It was on from the entrance.
Great! Oh my gosh, that entrance! Let me just say, as soon as they came out to that, I knew they were winning. I was like, oh, they're winning. They're going over. That's it. But then at the same time, there were moments where I was really pissed. I mean, can I tell you that when they brought out that bag and my man put that thumbtack coated shoe on, I was livid. I was so livid because I'm like, I'll be damned. They really gonna put themselves over. They really gonna do it. And I bought it. Same.
And we're just sitting there like, it's the same one thing. I can't remember the match, but I'm like, it's the same thumbtack sneaker.
I signed the purchase order too. I was like, God dang, I really bought this. Here you go.
Yep.
I signed the invoice and everything. I bought it 100%. And man, just an excellent, plenty of spots, plenty of good tags, taking advantage of the tornado tag element. You really got to give these guys credit because it can't be easy to write an entire match with that tornado tag element. Like, you've got to have all four people accounted for at every moment. This isn't like your typical tag team match where you still only need two people accounted for. They had to have all four people utilize the cage just enough. And, really, of course, we had to incorporate a top of the cage spot. So,
the cross body.
Yeah, which was perfect. You don't need to do more than that. Don't be stupid.
Don't be Teddy Hart. Like,
get the pop. Do what you got to do. Don't be stupid. Okay. That was good. It was good enough.
Oh yeah, no, it was perfect. And you think about it, like, look at the days where like we popped for Snuka with the splash and how much we've elevated the sport.
Exactly.
Where a man's doing a jumping crossbody off a cage.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's crazy. I did love the top rope Canadian destroyer though. That was and can we just talk about the sell on that? That man died.
Yeah.
That man died.
They literally took him out and buried him right afterwards.
Yeah. Like, he went up to heaven. God's like, oh, you got to finish this. I'm watching.
Go back down.
He's like, look, I already paid $50 for this, dude. You got to get back down there.
Don't you waste my money.
Exactly. Exactly.
Get your ass back in the ring.
That's it. Yeah. Great match. 100% match of the night.
Oh, well earned.
Mm-hmm.
And
we knew it was going to be.
The fact that all four of the guys bladed too. It wasn't just one guy or two guys. All four of them bladed, and a mask gets torn. And
that Pentagon blade, I swear to God, I was looking for like 5 minutes. I'm like, did he mess up his eye?
Yes.
The way it goes, I thought he had like knocked his eye out, Vader style.
Yeah, so did I. Remember, I said, "You look at his eye." And
my wife was watching with me. She's not a professional wrestling fan, but she was watching along with me, and she said, "Did he have any red on his face when he came out?" And I said, "No, not really." She's like, "I'm worried about him. I'm concerned." But yeah, go ahead.
You could even see the moment where he was touching his head.
Yeah, he's like,
make sure.
It's like the two. Oh, I fucked up.
Yep. It isn't the Eddie Guerrero level of that blading fuck up. Like, that'll still be the worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could tell he was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what, though? I really want to give them extra props on this one because, like I said, going into this one, even a week ahead of the show, I knew ahead of the time this was going to be match of the night, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is that expectation comes with a heavy burden. All four of them had to know that everybody expected that of them. So now you have these extremely high expectations that everybody's waiting for you to put on this 5-star match. You got to deliver that. And that's hard to do. When your expectations are low, it's easy to exceed. But when the expectations were as high as they were for this match, to even deliver them it's a tall order. And they served it up. They did.
Well, think of, how many hours they had to practice to go through the spots saying, okay, at this point, you're going to be here. We're going to be here. We have to make sure that we meet here.
Yes.
When the time is right. And, to be able to pull that off on live TV, that can't be an easy feat.
No, not at all. And I'm glad you said that, Mike. As you know, you've listened to my, past 2 episodes. A topic I've talked about a lot lately is I really want to see some effort to increase the timeliness of some of these high-flying moves. I understand that this is a calling card of AEW that we're going with, but on Dynamite and Rampage, far too often lately am I seeing some miscues and mistimes. I want to see those get cleaned up a little bit just because I believe in this production. I want to see this reach the top. And if we're going to reach the top, we got to clean up those miscues, and we got to work on our camera angles from the production crew. I saw a lot of improvement on that tonight. I think they really put their best foot forward on both of those.
Yeah, because when I was watching your show yesterday, I was going to comment, but I thought I'd save it for the show. When CM Punk delivered his first go to sleep on Rampage just last week, and you saw the camera angle they used, I'm thinking, you're not supposed to use the ringside camera angle. You're supposed to use the hard camera angle for the GTS.
Yep.
Because the ringside angle that they used, it just gave that move away and showed how ineffective it actually is compared to what it's supposed to be.
Yep. Camera's huge. Nobody understands the level of impact that a camera angle plays on a match. And AEW is still learning that. They're still learning that. That's one of the areas that they need to improve on.
And, I haven't watched WWE in almost 7 years. And at one point, they excelled in having the right camera angles at the right time. I don't know if it's still the same now, but
that's what's kept them around all this time.
Yeah.
It's not even just the talent. It's the world-class production crew. It takes all levels. But again, tonight, great work from the camera crew.
Oh, yeah.
Great work on the timeliness. No complaints.
I mean, especially during that steel cage match, because you've got the cage in front of the cameras. You have to make sure you have all your camera people positioned right. You have all the cameras positioned right. And you know when certain spots are going to happen. So you can have the camera on that angle at that time.
Agreed.
I feel bad for that guy, that one cameraman that was in the cage.
Yeah.
Okay, where are you guys going right now? So I'm just going to move over here.
Yeah, and, getting back to my previous point where, the tag teams had to rehearse. Well, somebody from the camera crew and the production had to be there so they would know where to be, so they wouldn't get in the way.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Team effort.
Unless the spot actually calls for the cameraman to get hit, you don't want the camera person in the way. You don't want anybody from the production crew in the way.
No.
Not
at all.
No, definitely not.
All right, so the next match. Let me look at my notes here.
Yes, absolutely. Just happy to say that.
And yes, the Lucha Brothers, the new AEW Tag Team Champions.
Well earned.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, you need a breather after that match. You need a chance to be able to, use the bathroom, get some food, whatever. So the Casino Battle Royal.
Nice.
Yep. It was good. It did what it needed to do.
Exactly.
It gave me a chance to take a leak, No, in all actuality, it was pretty decent.
Well, the biggest part about it is like the way that I love the way they do their battle royales is for the fact that they literally give you 5 at a time.
Yeah.
Like I love the Royal Rumble, but it takes so much out of you for each 1-to-1-to-1 that when we sit there, we're like, hey, here's 5 folks. And then 3 or 4 people get thrown out, you have like, well, 1 person's there, but 5 people are coming. So it's never it's never a lopsided affair.
Well, it's just good to see them do. They're taking a concept, right? That's proven, it works, but they're evolving it a little bit, and they're not throwing the whole thing out the window.
Nope.
But they are taking something that does work, and they're changing it just enough to put their own identity on it. You love to see that when somebody is confident enough to say, "Hey, you know what? We're willing to admit that this works." But we're not going to steal it. We're just going to modify it. We're going to make this clear that this is the AEW version of this right here, and we're going to make it our own.
Exactly.
You know, go ahead.
It's no different than, you know, a car company developing and selling their own cars. You know, somebody has this sedan that has these features. Well, what can we give our customer base for the same amount of price or lower, and maybe have a few extra features that the other guy doesn't have?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
My example I was going to give is to go a little bit of a music route with it. Johnny Cash didn't write the song "Hurt," but he damn sure made a better song out of it.
Yeah, he did.
Great call.
You know, Scott, you write your own music, and you've heard plenty of other people, their own styles, and you had to develop your own style in order to get over. And
or even just to satiate my own needs. Like, you sit there and you want to be creatively set. Like, you're never going to be creatively set if you're doing something the same as someone else.
Yeah,
you're just essentially you're an imposter at that point.
Yeah, it's just like on this platform. I'm not going to, you know, do something like you or do something like DJ, and vice versa. DJ's not going to copy me or copy you.
Exactly.
DJ's going to do it in his own style.
Yeah, 100%.
That means I'm going to fart all over the place.
Nice.
Oh,
well, you know, the best part about the internet is we don't
at least
have
give us a warning.
television going.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, when it comes to this battle royale, I mean, come on, like, we've got. Now, I'm a big Ty Conti mark, so that's always going to be my thing. So as soon as I see her come in, I'm like, I just want her to win everything.
Right.
It's her and Maki Ito. If I see either one of them, I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah. But then at the end, when we get Ruby Soho's debut,
love it.
Seeing her free, that Rancid song playing, amazing.
It's great. You know, and I posted on Twitter, I'm really excited to see, because I really wanted to like her during her run in WWE, but it just felt like they wouldn't allow her to do anything. They just completely put the boot down on her and just pushed and pushed and pushed and held her there. So very excited to see what she can do now that she's free to do as she wishes. You know, AEW allows their people to do what they need to do, and they don't hold it back. So very excited to see that, especially seeing her getting pushed so fast. I think her, you know, rivalry with Britt Baker, it's imminent. It's inevitable. Yeah. It's going to be great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, because I think she's exactly the type of character that Britt Baker, like, if we're talking about this from a kayfabe standpoint, right? Mm-hmm. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, would despise the type of person that Ruby Soho is. So I think that, and vice versa, you know? Yeah. So I think that's going to make this a very, very interesting feud.
Perfect style.
Two complete polar opposites, and you know, they're gonna want to go at each other. And what's one way to go at each other? Well, guess what? Britt's got the strap, so Soho's gonna want the strap and put herself over with the crowd and say, "I'm the new one in town, and no one's gonna take this from me."
And, you know, I think this is going to help kind of diversify the crowd a little bit in terms of what you were saying earlier, Phoenix, is, you know, she's that tweener. She's trying hard to be a heel, but people still pull for her. If Ruby Soho is the one challenging for her, and you've got that completely different style, that's going to help pull some of those cheers away from her and allow her to be more of the hated heel. And Ruby's going to come in and take that pop, and they're going to take those cheers and leave Baker with the heat. It's going to be flawless.
Okay, let me just go back to my notes here. Okay, MJF versus Chris Jericho.
That little prick.
All right, I'll let you take it, Scott.
It's 100% every time I see MJF is the kind of guy, I love him as a heel, but I would love to punch him in the face.
Yep.
Like, that's 100% what I want to do, is just lay him out. But then he's so dedicated to the craft that I can't help but sit there and go, I respect the shit out of this and I'm entertained. So if you're going in there and making me want to see you get hurt, you are doing it perfectly.
Yep.
And Jericho coming out to actual Fozzy members playing him out.
Yeah. You love to see it.
It's so good.
It is. And to your point, the thing I love about MJF is that he doesn't turn it off.
No.
He doesn't turn it off. He is his character to a T, and he plays the heel perfectly. You know, I'm a guy, I always cheer for the villains. I always connect with the villains, be it a video game, a comic book, a movie, wrestling. I always like the bad guys, right? But fuck that guy.
Yep.
I mean, like,
it's so true.
You can't help but hate him. And because of that, you can't help but love him because it's perfect. I mean, he is the best heel that they have right now simply because you cannot cheer him.
No, and he doesn't turn it off. I saw a fan video where he was talking about somebody with Dragon Ball Z. And he's like, hey, Wardlow, you like Dragon Ball Z? He's like, no, I don't watch that. He's like, yeah, you can Kamehameha, go fuck yourself.
That's great, dude.
It was the greatest thing I ever saw. And in my head, I'm like, he never turns it off, ever.
Yeah. No, and it's like and the thing is, he gets so much great exposure because of that. Because, like I saw a post on Facebook recently, I was scrolling, and it was a screenshot of where somebody was, Twitter surfing, and they didn't know who he was. It was a picture he took after the gym, and he says, I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. And then Joe Manganiello, who, does play Dungeons and Dragons and is like one of the top 10 most buff looking dudes in the country right now, posted a picture of him on Muscle Magazine. He's like, I do. And but because of that made so much circulation. People are literally roasting and shitting on MJF who don't even know who he is. They don't realize he's a character, and that generates buzz. And when people hear that, they're like, hey, that's that guy that was ripping on D&D. I want to tune in. I want to see him get his butt whooped.
Yes.
It works. The guy does it so well. He doesn't turn it off. Did y'all catch the Aubrey Edwards pulling the ring off where she's just like, really? And just rips it off of his finger?
Yes.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And it just seems so fluid and so natural to him. So often you see heels who are trying and they have to think about it. This dude doesn't even think about it. He just knows. That's a gift. He knows what to do. He knows what to say. And just real quick, if I can, one more point that I really loved during this match was when Jericho was going for the lion salt. Did you guys notice MJF realized that he was far away and he looked up to make sure that Jericho was going to be safe?
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
I saw the readjustment
because that was fantastic. He did it perfect. It didn't look obvious to an untrained eye, who doesn't know it like we do, but he made sure that his partner was safe. And that is immense level of respect.
That's another thing you notice as a longtime wrestling fan, especially, watching tonight. You can tell when they're watching out for one another before they perform a big spot. Saying, are you in, a good position? Are you okay? If you're not okay, we need to modify this match. How many times have you heard where, they're having a match, whether it be on TV or during a house show, something happens and then they have to put up the X to end the match because somebody got injured.
Yep. Absolutely.
And kills the entire show.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. I just love MJF. I hate the fact that I'm going to gush. I love the fact he was wearing a Ric Flair tribute for his entire outfit. It was so good.
And how about that countdown?
Yes.
Beautiful. I was like, oh, no, he is not. Because I knew it wasn't Jericho. I knew it wasn't Jericho.
No. Chris isn't coming out to that.
It was perfect because why would Jericho even come out to his old WWE countdown? He wouldn't.
Exactly.
WWE's in the past.
Yep.
But
the fans, on the other hand, they're going to pop for it because they're like, oh, no way, he's doing it. But I was like, oh, man, this is great. He's trolling everybody so hard.
So good.
And it was perfect nostalgia because
it was
20 years ago. Chris Jericho debuted in WWE, and nobody thought of him as a top spot. They thought of him as mid-carder. And
Man,
man
really
is
made
the
a name
goat.
for himself. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Literally, like he's the goat all the way.
Yeah, and it's like I said to Scott while we're watching, I said, it's hard to believe that this man is 50 years old and look at the way he's still able to move inside that ring, where a lot of guys his age, are just barely making it down to the ring.
A lot of guys his age. I'm about to be 29. I can't move like that. So.
Hey, he's got me like literally, like even Jericho, I'm 38. Dude's got me by like friggin' 12, 13 years. Like, let's keep it completely honest. I can't move like that.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't. I could not. If I tried to do a lion salt, I'd break my neck. Guaranteed.
Yeah,
that's assuming I make it off the ropes.
Once. No.
That's assuming I make it off the ropes and I don't slide through and just fall on my butt,
Just go right out of the ring. Yeah. I'd do the same. 100.
I'd fall flat in my face the moment I tried to do a move.
Yeah.
And then the crowd would be chanting, "You fucked up, you fucked up."
Yeah, exactly.
And you
like they did.
And you're just like, oh.
Yeah. Like they did, I forget what match it was. Or I can't even remember. There's so much to take in. To the ref, where they were, you fucked up.
Yes.
You fucked up.
So
yes,
good.
yes.
That was great.
Oh my god.
Yeah, wasn't it during Kenny Omega and Christian's match?
Was it?
No, because Kenny Omega and Christian.
I don't think so.
Botch when he tried to botch the giant insult that he did outside.
Yeah.
I can't even remember because there was just so many awesome moments.
Yeah. I think it was
to your point, DJ, there was so much to take in. Even writing down a few notes, it's like you're gonna miss something.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's 100%. Amazing. That's you were in the moment. Like, I love being analytical, and I love being able to bring this to people and go, hey, share this experience. But then also, you got to watch it, too. Like, so comparatively, it was like,
absolutely.
If you don't go back at any point, if you didn't watch it, and you don't go back to watch it at any point, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. I tried to make, my notes. I tweeted throughout the show, and I tried to just make it a point to do 1 to 2 tweets per match, just so I could have something to reflect on, but at the same time, not be on Twitter or on my notes the whole time, address the points and then keep moving.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, but and I got to say, I wrestled with it back and forth over who should win in this match. And I could not come to a definitive conclusion. I couldn't do it. Mike, you were listening live. I just couldn't come to a definitive. And that's so rare for me that I can't make up my mind over, okay, this person should win and this is why. I couldn't do it. There was solid points to both. Like I said, AEW has a need in the commentary booth right now that Mark Henry ain't filling. And Chris Jericho can fill that. But on the other side, there's a lot of young talent in there that we could see Chris Jericho really work with and elevate these guys like he's done with MJF. MJF has come away from this, like I said, win, lose, or draw, MJF is already a better person. Or, for having worked with Jericho through this promotion. But, and he can do it for other people too.
Now, if we could just have another steak dinner, that would be the best thing ever.
There you go.
All right, going back to my notes. All right, the match that everybody was waiting for, the return of CM Punk and Darby Allin.
So good, dude. But you knew this was going to be a burner. Like, he had, the amount of hype that came into this beginning. We're already sold. We're already in the ring with him. We're already going to like this. He could have shit the bed slightly and still gotten over.
Yep.
Did not at all. And that's the best part about this. He had to prove to himself, but he also had to prove to a skeptical wrestling audience that still loves him that he can go. And
absolutely.
He went. A leg lariat. Come on. I don't even remember the last time I saw CM Punk do a leg lariat.
There was a lot of really good moves.
When he was in ROH.
Yeah, it has to be. Like, I don't think at WWE CM Punk ever did a leg lariat.
I don't think so.
And I could be wrong, but I don't remember it.
And like I mentioned on Twitter, it was so weird seeing him in full tights.
Yes.
It was very weird. But at the same time, full tights be damned. It was just good to see him.
Yes.
It was just good to see him.
It was good to see him come out to the ring. It was good to see him, get on his knees, run his hand along the floor, and then look at his hand and yell, "It's clobbering time!"
It was wonderful. Threw you right back. Yeah. No, and I got to give credit to Darby Allin, because Darby Allin,
He's a monster.
you know, any other opponent, and that match doesn't look as good as it did.
Right.
But Darby Allin was able to take advantage of the small moments and really sell the moves where he needed to. That toss in the turnbuckle corner.
Holy shit.
Geez. I mean, that was... He about broke him in half. You know what I'm saying? By God, he broke him in half. It was rough.
When that happened, it was like a rag doll just being tossed around.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, oh, how is he not going to come away with some serious injury from that?
Dude, if now this is, of course, like you said, you've been out for so long. This is a man I've seen take a power bomb outside of the ring while in a body bag filled with thumbtacks.
Wow.
This is a man I've seen do the craziest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Like, for somebody, like, it almost agrees, like, to the point when CM Punk said 15-year-old CM Punk, this would have been his favorite wrestler.
100%.
There are so many people that I know that love Darby in that regard. And, of course, anywhere else he wouldn't get looked at for his size.
Right.
The dude is fantastic. I think it's almost, I feel like he's going to be a future world champion.
Do you feel that he's this
I think he's over enough with the
Mick
crowd.
Foley?
Is he, though?
I think
Is he, though?
I think he's over enough with the crowd. It's almost in that same level, like where you're gonna like you see people that you don't expect, but he's gangbusters.
He's good. He's good. He's really good. I love him. I want to be clear. I love Darby Allin.
Yeah.
But
I get where you're coming from. It's a hard sell with his size and all that. I just see that he's so over with the audience that he's gonna be.
He is over. And the thing I want to make clear is that when I say it's about his size, we're not talking about a Daniel Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. No. We're not talking about a CM Punk. Those Darby Allin makes either one of them look like freaking Batista.
Yeah.
This is a whole other level. So, I guess my thing is, I wonder, does Darby Allin need to be world champion?
No, he doesn't.
Long term. I don't know.
But it's almost that same level like when you saw Jeff Hardy finally get it. It was because of that connection they have with the crowd.
True.
That somehow gets them over no matter what you do.
We'll see.
It'll be fun to watch.
I'll say this. Yeah, absolutely. I'll say this. I won't oppose it if it happens. If it happens, I won't oppose it. But I don't think it'll happen.
Still need some more selling.
I don't think it'll happen. Yeah, and it's nothing against Darby Allin.
No.
Nothing against him. Wonderful, wonderful performer. Again, did a fantastic job, and anybody else wouldn't have looked as good as it did. Yeah. He took advantage. He used his ability. He made Punk look like an absolute rock star.
Yeah. No, it was bell to bell. Like, if you're going to go, let's even go, this could be like that Dave Meltzer star breaking match. Like, right. I could see that.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good. And I love Darby. I think the TNT championship run he had, that was really cool to see him.
That was fantastic.
I'd like to see him in that role or a tag champion role. But, when I think of the main event, the world championship, and you got guys like John Moxley and Kenny Omega, and,
that's why future is the pre-word in there. I'm not
true.
There's too many people that are in that hot, like they have a super hot main event scene right now.
Absolutely. Even hotter now.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Trust me.
Yeah. But anyway, no, great match though. Mike.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
My question to you two gentlemen. Do you feel that Darby Allin is his generation's Mick Foley, with him willing to take risks?
Closest we got. If you're going to go in a mainstream wrestling, like if you're going to go, like if you went independent, you went GCW, you went CZW, you've got guys that could lay claim to that all day long. But in mainstream wrestling, there's nobody in WWE that's going to even come close. And in AEW, no one's taking that chance. He's using his punishment as an offensive weapon.
So to that extent, I might suggest that he is today's Sabu.
Good call. I like that even better.
Very good call.
Because when I think Mick Foley, we already have today's Mick Foley. That role's been filled. We already talked about John Moxley earlier. Good call. We already talked about him. But Darby Allin, first of all, if he's today's anything, he's today's Sabu. But I think above all else, he's today's Darby Allin.
Yeah.
You know?
He's inimitable. I do love his dad, Sting.
Yes, I love that. That is an excellent pairing. I am so glad. If Sting does nothing else with his AEW run other than stand by Darby Allin and be his partner, then his run has been perfect.
Agreed.
You know, like anything else on top of that is gravy.
Oh, it's peanut butter and jelly, bro. It's just like when you go with him and was it him and Darby, and then you could also go with Jake the Snake and friggin' Lance Archer.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Together, it's peanut butter and jelly. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. What happened? Everything happened. Everything happened.
Oh, Matt Vader, you missed a good one, brother. Oh, we're gonna get to the big story here, brother.
Oh yes,
we're definitely gonna get to the big story. As a matter of fact, I'll move it along. All right, the next match, and it was in a good spot after CM Punk and Darby Allin, but the former Giant, the former Big Show, former WWF, WWE World Heavyweight Champion, ECW Champion, Paul White versus
it's another match that did his job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
It's a great time to refill your drink.
Great time to get up, stretch, do whatever you need to do. And
but we knew that.
Thing,
we
like,
knew that.
Not on the MJF level, but QT Marshall is a guy that you just want to see get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
All the time.
I could tell when I was watching the promos because, before this pay-per-view, I was trying to catch up as best I could. I'm thinking, I got a lot of catching up to do. Because, like I keep saying, I haven't watched wrestling on a regular basis in 7 years. After CM Punk left and we went to SmackDown, any interest I had in WWE, especially when Daniel Bryan announced his retirement, is like, okay, I got no reason to watch.
They didn't have anything to keep you at that point. Like there's bright spots left and right. Like, I mean, I've been watching off and on. Like I keep a track of WWE through the clips on YouTube. That's literally the only time I see them.
And to answer your question, Matt Vader, it was CM Punk who went over Darby Allin.
In fantastic fashion. That GTS was nasty.
Oh, it was so good. The GTS out of the ring.
Oh, he died. He died.
Yeah, he died, came back down, he fell, as his theme song says.
God was like, all right, y'all got to quit doing this, okay? I told the last guy, I already paid $50 for this, okay? You're getting back down. He closed the doors after that because Christian Cage had a hole in his ribs, and he was like, he ain't coming up here.
Oh my God!
But before we get to that, yeah, I mean this. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest with you here. Okay. I don't get the factory. I don't get it. It doesn't do anything for me. It feels like a waste of TV time. To be completely honest with you.
That was really what it was. Yeah, they started hot because it was a turn on Cody Rhodes.
Oh, okay. See, I was
Factory, and then it was this great turn. They started hot, and now they've got they had an Olympic boxer, Anthony Ogogo, as one of their guys.
See, I was in a hiatus at that point.
Yeah, so that's perfect because it's what you see now. They started hot, and now they've kind of petered out to the point that it's just like QT and his goons.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. It just seems like TV time we could be using for Miro and Eddie Kingston.
Agreed.
Or literally any of the other bright stars that we have at AEW. I don't get it with them. Paul White, I think we're going to maybe see what he can do on commentary. This was fun.
Oh, he was fun on commentary, but he's not. Yeah, exactly. This is why he's part-time if he does anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the video I posted on social media where Paul White the other night saying, "Take me out to the ball game at Wrigley," and he did have a botch moment when he was saying it. It's like, oh, Big Show, if I was there, I would be yelling, "You fucked up."
It would have been so good.
Speaking of Big Show, Matt Vader, I do want to let you know that the three of us were at a SmackDown taping 7 years ago, and after Big Show had a match, and he was leaving, and it was the last match of the night. So we were all getting ready to go anyway. But the three of us started giving him such a hard time. He just laughed it off.
Yep. He gave us
I remember that. Yeah, that was great. And to your comment, Matt, honestly, I'm just getting back into things myself. Just recently, last year during the pandemic, my employment, I had 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It was actually pretty nice. It was a good gig. So during those 2 weeks off, I was binge watching AEW. I was all in. And then, things got a little crazy. I started a new job, had to learn a lot. So I got out of it. But now I'm really getting back into it. So I'm kind of picking up on about a 6 months to a year lapse. And right now is a fantastic time to be getting back into things because there's so many awesome things going on.
So
it's a really good time.
Getting back to tonight's crowd. The crowd reminded me of the crowd in the late 90s going into the 2000s. Into each and every match. They weren't sitting on their hands waiting for something to happen. They were into it from the word go, and that's what you want. It doesn't matter if you're a wrestling fan, baseball fan, football fan, even going to the movies and seeing a moment that gets you off your feet. You want those moments. And I'm sorry, not a lot of companies are giving you those moments anymore. They're not giving it to you when it comes to wrestling. They're certainly not giving to me as a Star Trek fan anymore. I watch the current Star Trek product and it sucks. Star Wars, the sequels, they sucked.
Yeah.
They sucked.
Now, let's say this.
I thought they were all right.
We're going to get into a Star Wars discussion now, which I love. But I will say, from someone who's been to AEW shows, if you get a chance, do it. These crowds have been amazing. Nothing but well, of course, Chicago is going to be a hot crowd no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh this time because Jesus Christ, are they great.
You mean Britsburg?
Yeah, Britsburg. My apologies.
Yeah.
I don't have my terrible towel right now.
Oh, I got one in the other room.
Nice. Do you got the limited edition Brit one yet?
No, not yet. No.
They made a Brit terrible towel.
I did. I saw that. I need to get that. I need
all
to get
day
that.
long. But if you have a chance, if it comes in your neck of the woods, go.
I'm kicking myself for missing the Charlotte show they did just recently where the Young Bucks did the Space Jam entrance.
Oh.
I'm kicking myself, man. I love me some Space Jam and I love me some Young Bucks. So I'm really kicking myself for missing that.
Well, getting to Matt Vader's point in the comments, the no crowds. It didn't matter if it was wrestling or a sporting event. Not having crowds in the stands and all you're hearing is the fake crowd noise, it doesn't work.
No.
You need actual people there in the stands to get the energy going because today
it was
watching the Cub game. You can all watch the recap if you want later on, but watching today's Cub game and just hearing those fans, I don't care if it's against Pittsburgh who have been struggling this season or if it's against the number one team in baseball, just to hear the fans get into each and every pitch, each and every at bat. That energy level is something that can't be replaced. It can't be done artificially because it doesn't have that feel. It doesn't have that vibe.
So good.
Yeah.
To a wrestler together. We all know that energy that you get when somebody comes out and you're on your feet and you're cheering, or someone like Bray Wyatt comes out. What do? You pull out your cell phone and you make sure that damn light is on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the biggest just disservice that the no crowds had with AEW was the debut of Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
That was it was so
good.
Perfect, and there was no one there to enjoy it. I will say this. It was difficult. It was different. But I do feel like, it brought a challenge to the companies of okay, how can we adapt to this? And as far as working with the hand that you were dealt, AEW did the best they could, with having the wrestlers come out and they took it and they ran with it. Life gave them lemons and they said, all right, here's some lemon vodka, and they used it as an opportunity to further the stories and the rivalries, hey, this guy's going to be at ringside for your match. So, I felt like they did the best that they could with it. I must say this. I liked what AEW did a lot better than the Thunderdome.
Yeah, I was going to say Thunderdome, no.
That was not it.
I saw video clips of that. I'm going, oh, Vince, you completely lost it. And
it just didn't look good.
No.
It looked stupid.
It looked cheap.
Agreed.
It looked cheap.
Yeah, I liked what AEW did far better. They had their place. They had Daly's place. And let's be honest also, it was definitely superior. And it also allowed us the birth of the Stadium Stampede.
Oh my God.
Would that match have come to fruition if it were not for that? Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, no, I think with the creativity was what made everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now if I don't see Matt Hardy, like speaking to him, ever like try to kill himself again, like was that spear from Sammy Guevara off the scissor lift where he hit his head.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
And to Matt Vader's point, he wants to see AEW come to Vegas. Well, I wouldn't mind if they went up to Norfolk because
I think they are going to Norfolk.
They are going to Norfolk.
But
sorry.
That's right. That's right.
Reminded me to do. I still pay attention.
I see what you're trying to do, DJ. You're trying to take over the show. You're trying to put yourself over. You come in here, you're wearing that championship, and you're trying to take over Pacific414. Well, let me tell you something, brother. Nobody controls Pacific414 but me.
It's great.
I'm silent. Damn.
Got promoed on, bro.
You come into my house with that championship. That championship means nothing here. You hear me? It means nothing. Yes, I'm pointing because right now I'm a heel.
Let me tell you something, Pacific. Let me tell you something real quick, okay? Let me make this completely clear.
Go ahead and tell me something, brother.
When my agent told me that I was booked for a show called Pop Talk, I was a little unsure at first. But, now that we've been here for a little bit, it's pretty obvious to me. It makes sense now. See, because the more I hear you talk, the more I want to pop a knot on your head. So it makes perfect sense now. So if you want to see me in this championship, I'll meet you in Norfolk, my friend.
Nice.
And you, Phoenix, which side are you going to pick?
Man, I hate to be a tweener here, but either one of you that beats the hell out of each other, I'll just sit back here and laugh.
I'm not surprised with that one, Scott. No way. I'm not surprised with that one at all. Speaking of someone who's a tweeter, I still remember that time we were working in the back room. And Matt Vader, you might get a kick out of this story. But we're in the back room of the store that we worked at. And we're doing the morning picks for all the different departments. Well, Scott's in one of the bins, and you push a button in it, and it rolls on a track. And he's up on a ladder. Well, all of a sudden, I'm grabbing picks, and I hear this thud on the ground. Well, King Pheenix is on the ground, so I said, "Was there something in there that you had to get from the top rope and give them a mighty elbow drop?"
So good.
Classic.
No, it was just I had no care for their shit, so it was.
No, I know you did. I know you did. Neither one of us did by that point.
Believe me, I'm in a way better place now where I could sit there and be like, "Oh my God, I have a company that doesn't want me to come in broken." Oh.
The former Blue World Order.
Yeah.
Matt, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of silliness. And if you get a chance, come back and catch the rest of the stream later. Okay, so the final match of the night. And it leads up to probably the best moments. Not moment, but moments of the night.
Pheenix, give me, pound me. No, damn it.
Are you doing a side pound?
No, I'm going. You're up there. So I need you to do down, and to the left.
Down.
You're my left.
Okay.
There we go. Got it.
There
boom.
you go. There you go.
Bada boom.
The funny part is we're all mixed up. Like, I don't see that with you. I see me right. Oh yeah.
All right, but yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes. We are the BWO. We're a bunch of clowns.
Yeah. Right. But the main event, though.
The main event: Christian versus Kenny Omega.
Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm. This one exceeded expectations for me. I'm gonna level with you. Their feud has been boring to me. It's it's just not done it. I'm not a fan of the feud, but the match, the culmination, just it was perfect. Again, I had very little expectations for this match. I knew in the back of my mind that for one, Christian is a veteran, he is a performer, and he takes pride in his work. And I also know that Kenny Omega is one of the best wrestlers in the business today. So based off of that, I knew they were going to try their hardest, but I didn't know exactly what they were going to be able to do. But man, did they exceed expectations. 100%. I was not correct in my expectations for this match.
And I'm watching Christian, and the whole time I'm thinking, oh, please be careful, please be careful. We can't have anything happen to you. You've just recently come back to the ring this year, and we can't have you suffer a serious injury where you're retired once again. Because let's look at it. Let's look at him and Edge, two guys who aren't supposed to be doing this anymore. They aren't supposed to have the ability to do this anymore. Yet they're back in the ring and they're busting their asses each and every day inside that ring.
And don't forget Sting either. I mean, he's not doing it quite as frequently, but he's still in there, not supposed to be doing it. I mean, but he's still going at it. So you got to respect the passion and love for the business that they have to be willing to risk it and go in there and do that. And especially on Christian's count, where he's going in there, not only is he risking it with these regular bumps, but this man is talking about table bumps that he's taking in here, So, I mean, definitely taking, I think, the highest risk bumps of the three.
I mean, come on. And then you've got, I know he's safe enough and he's that good of a worker that we don't have to worry about Omega, but still taking snapdragons on a neck that's been your main problem that puts you out of wrestling. And we tested how good his neck is tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, that was tough to watch almost because I'm like, oh God, Kenny, don't drop him, Kenny, whatever you do. Yep. They did just, it made Christian Cage look like an excellent worker. Yeah. Because we all know what Kenny's capable of. And, to an extent, we know what Christian's capable of, but at the same time, it's just like, are you still capable of it? Because I think we can agree that his best work was really his TNA run back in the day when he was first breaking out onto the main event scene, where he established that, hey, I can be a main eventer. I am not just a tag team competitor. I can go out there and I can put on a main event match. The question was very similar to Punk's question. Can you still go out there and put on a main event match on a pay-per-view where everybody's watching? Yeah. And he could.
Eyeballs are glued to you inside the ring. Whether you're watching on TV, watching it on a computer, tablet, whatever, eyes are focused on you. Can you perform at, maybe not the same level you used to perform at, but at a level that still grabs the crowd?
Mm-hmm. It's exactly, and it's top level, and you've got to go out there you are now following everything that this pay-per-view has done.
Yeah.
And this was a barn burner all the way through, because everything did what it needed to do or it excelled. Yep. So now you've got to come out and prove that you're the main event for this, which, like I said, with Christian, I know that man. It's like everybody who's worked with him talks about him like he's the greatest wrestler ever. Like if you listen to podcasts talking about him, they put him over all day long. So then you got that, and then he takes actually, no, we're not rushing into it. He takes a table bump where the legs pop through the tabletop, and literally,
I was scared for him at that moment.
I was horrified. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to say I have so much more respect for Christian Cage after tonight than ever before, because not only did he have that gash in there, but it was literally just moments after my man goes to the top rope and takes the knees to the ribs. And when he did that, I mean, he instantly went right there, and I was just like, oh, buddy, I'm so sorry. But you've got to give this man credit, because he could have looked at Kenny and said, hey, you know what? I can't, we got to
cut it.
Cut that spot.
We got to cut this spot out, or we got to cut this match depending on how much pain he was in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lesser men would have asked to go home at that point.
100%.
But I think at that point, you're in a main event match, and it's on a major pay-per-view for the company, you're feeling the adrenaline of the crowd, and that just spurs you on.
Oh, he'll be feeling it later. I'll tell you that 100%. Hopefully he didn't hopefully as we see, because we're not him. It looked to me like it was all abs. I'm hoping it was all soft tissue, but he was close enough to his ribs. I hope he'll be feeling it tomorrow for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's in the back of his mind as well is, to your point, Mike, is not only is this, the main event of a pay-per-view that everybody's talking about, but this could very well be the point at which we look at as the turning point. This could be the Mankind winning the world title for AEW. This has all the makings of it. This is the night where you see all these big debuts, the return of Punk, and all these wonderful matches, right? This has Mankind winning the world title written all over it.
Yep.
This is going to be the night. And Jericho himself even recently said, I believe that in 6 to 8 months' time from now, Dynamite could very well be competing with Monday Night Raw.
Oh,
maybe a little bit premature. Maybe a little bit premature. I don't know about 6 to 8 months, but if this is a sign of things to come, it will happen.
Yeah, but going back to history, look at WCW when they debuted on September 5th of 1995. And they were going head-to-head against Monday Night Raw, and how long it took them to finally gain momentum against WWE's products. And why did they gain momentum? Because they were offering a more adult-oriented product as compared to WWE at the time, who was, still favoring kids. Still having
it was a better product, too. I mean, look at the cruiserweights.
Did WCW really debut on September 5th?
Yes.
I'll be damned.
Yes.
Talk about the irony. if this event that happened on September 5th is the turning point, and it happens on the same day in history as the debut of their biggest rival of all time, and then this day, their new biggest rival hits their new full gear.
It's Kevin Sullivan in the back. You know what that was, kid? That was the boat hitting the iceberg.
So man. But that match between Kenny Omega, the false finishes and the spots that were taken, and there was a point where I thought, is Kenny Omega going to try to get onto the top turnbuckle and then do a power bomb from the top turnbuckle, because he seems that crazy to try to a spot like that. And
one thing I do want to mention about Kenny Omega that I think this is going to go unsaid, and it's a damn shame, is back in school, okay, when we were in literature, arts, English class, whatever you want to call it, right, and we were doing reading, okay, they always taught us that when you're reading, and we would do the poetry out loud thing, if you mess up, it's okay. Don't stop. Don't stutter. And don't freeze. Just keep going and pretend that you didn't even mess up. When Kenny Omega went to do that backflip from the barricade, you would have thought it was meant for him to mess up.
Yeah.
You would have thought it was meant, because he did the he just kept going. He didn't freeze. He didn't try to instantly redo it or anything like that. Like, oh shit, I fucked up. No, it looked natural.
Yep.
That was, he messed up. He's human. It happens. It's a cloth barricade. It's pretty easy to slip on. I'm not going to stand here and act like I could do it in 15 tries if you gave them to me. I couldn't even climb the damn thing to begin with. So definitely couldn't backflip off of it. But, the fact that he didn't freeze, he didn't stop, he just kept moving. You got to appreciate that. So I think that needs to be addressed for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. And, for those gentlemen at their age to be performing at the level, getting back to Jericho too, to have these guys still performing at the level that they're performing compared to, guys who were their age, 30 years ago, taking a look at Ric Flair, back in 95 for WCW, he was near his 50s and
he still go, dude. If you told Ric Flair he could wrestle tomorrow, he'd be there. That man, styling, profiling, woo. Dude, the best part was when he showed up at AAA. I'm kind of wondering if he's gonna show up. There were people seen with him in Chicago, so I'm wondering if the Andrade match had happened, if he would have shown up.
Maybe. Maybe.
Because I don't know his contract status with WWE. You know, if he's
I think he's gone from them. I think because he showed up in AAA with them.
Yeah. What is it though? Because I think they had a note about it that he could show up in AAA because it was outside of the country.
Maybe it is. I could have swore that they had gotten rid of him.
It could be
because they were clipping all these contracts now with with whatever that con guy who runs the other one is.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but he's apparently the guy that's been doing all the cutbacks and things like sending Mickey James, personal belongings in a garbage bag. I'm thinking, really, that's low.
And now look at her; just did NWA Empower. So you're getting rid of like even with a Ruby Soho, like now we know these are people that are hungry that never got their chance, and watch what they're going to do.
Yeah. And go ahead.
And that's the whole problem with WWE. They have, such a large roster, but not enough TV time for everybody to be utilized properly.
Agreed.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. WWE saw AEW coming up. And when they saw them in the early stages of forming, they said, okay, we need to go around and we need to lock these people up so that they can't go over there. Well, they locked them up and then they had no idea how to use them. And they're thinking, oh, well, these guys are garbage. We don't need to worry about them. Just send them out on their way. And now they're really, oh, wait a minute. Why didn't we do that?
Because they don't have they don't have the love of the wrestling business. That's
what
it is. It's not. You have guys that literally
it's sports
love the
and entertainment. Get it right, Phoenix. It's sports entertainment.
Go eat a ketchup covered steak or whatever the fuck it is he eats.
Damn.
Ketchup covered well done steak bullshit.
Yeah, really. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the exact what happened. They saw AEW coming up. They knew that there was something that was coming that could have an impact on them, and they wanted to lock up all this talent. And then, not only did they think that there was nothing they could do with them, but 2020 happened. And, they started going through some financial hardships, and it's like, okay, well, we can't afford to keep these guys anymore just for the simple sake of holding them away from AEW. They're big. They're popular. They know what they're worth. Adam Cole knows exactly what he's worth. Baby. Yeah. If WWE's not going to pay it, he knows somebody else is going to.
Oh, yeah.
So it becomes the point of their contracts coming up. They're not being used. They're not having fun. And they're not making the money they know they can make. So it's a matter of time. And now you have, the Luger Macho Hogan jumping ship to AEW in the form of Malachi Black, Brian Danielson, whatever you want to call him, and Adam Cole. So, and CM Punk, it's literally history repeating itself.
And
the good parts.
This time,
yeah, exactly.
This time, I don't think WWE is going to be able to recover.
If they keep up, if they follow the same path they're doing, they won't.
Yeah. No, I think they can. Let me be clear about that. They can recover, but they have to choose to because they still have the people that can do it. They still have Kevin Steen over there, and they still have El Generico over there. They've got some names over there.
They've got Wuhan Nation.
Exactly. So they still have names that our people are familiar with, They can make this comeback, but they have to choose to. And if they continue to push Roman Reigns, they're not going to do it.
No.
They're not going to do it because it's just not going to work. Nobody wants to see it.
Not only that, the same weekend where CM Punk debuts on Rampage, they have Brock Lesnar return at SummerSlam. And I'm talking about the WWE who had him return. It's like, no, get Brock Lesnar out of there. He does nothing for your company anymore. And it's been proven over the last almost 10 years. He may give you that initial jolt, but he doesn't bring you anything.
No, because he doesn't care. He doesn't care how the show looks. He cares how his check looks. Now, there was a time when Brock Lesnar cared. There was a time when Brock Lesnar put on a great match, and it's this time right here. This is how long ago that was.
When 2002.
When Brock had this bad boy, Brock was a bad dude. Brock was a bad dude.
Brock, he got the belt with The Rock putting him over at SummerSlam almost 20 years ago.
I tell you, I
used to think he was young.
Yeah, and he cared. He gave a damn. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I used to think that when he put the Brock lock on somebody, I thought he was going to kill him.
Yep.
Like,
Not
I'll
only
never
that-
When
forget.
he's just beating up Zach Gowen, I'm like, why are you just mutilating this poor child?
Exactly. Like, I'll never forget the SmackDown where Chris Benoit challenged for the title, and they did the lottery to see who was going to get it. And they're like, well, he could have fought Chris Benoit or Chris Benoit or Chris Benoit. And he, like, meanwhile, like Chris Benoit is just like folded up in a pretzel, you know, screaming for his life. And it just looked mean. It just looked nasty, you know? So, but that time is past for Brock.
It's gone. It's no
It's
longer
over.
here.
He's made money, and that's all he wants to do is make money. He doesn't want to put on 5-star matches. I don't think he could if he wanted to anymore.
No.
He doesn't have it.
This isn't hungry enough to try a shooting star press, Brock Lesnar.
Sore subject.
Hey, he still tried it. You
He
know what I
did.
mean?
He did.
He tried it and he failed.
He did. He tried it. He tried it. But you know, I can't hate because
I couldn't.
I ain't gonna try.
No, I'm with you.
I'm not getting on the top rope trying that.
Nope.
No, sir.
Nope.
No,
I'd look the same way, if not worse.
I would be wrecked.
Yeah.
Be like, what happened? How did you lose your chance to walk? I tried to do something stupid. So.
Yeah. I'd look like that viral video of the guy where he's like crossing himself and he just like, you know, just completely gets wrecked.
Yep.
That would be me.
Same.
And getting back to Christian versus Kenny Omega,
Yes,
do you think it was smart of them to not only have Kenny Omega retain, but also have one superstar debut?
Adam Cole.
Absolutely.
Bang, bang.
Absolutely. Kenny Omega retaining was the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Just you have to. And then I gotta, to be completely honest, when Adam Cole came out, I was like, okay, well, I guess we're not getting Bryan Danielson. I'm okay with it.
Such a good swerve.
It was perfect. He came out because it was when he said, "There's nobody who can beat me. They're retired," and then it went dark. I was like, "Oh, here comes Bryan Danielson," and then Adam Cole. I was like, "Well, color me surprised."
Well, that's what I thought too. I thought it was going to be Bryan Danielson coming out, and when Adam Cole came out, I'm going, "All right, okay, maybe they're
cool,
saving Daniel Bryan."
Right, still cool.
But then part of me in the back of my mind starts going, no, wouldn't it be cool to see Bryan Danielson come out? And then when you hear the riff of his old theme start playing and he comes out, that crowd popped even more than they already were.
Oh, I was on my couch.
I could hear them over my headphones perfectly when they popped. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I was on the couch. I was popping off. I was clapping. My wife was like, who is that? I'm like, it's Bryan Danielson. And she goes, who's Bryan Danielson? I'm like, one of the best wrestlers in the world.
I couldn't help it, Scott. I mean, that's
it's perfect.
Want.
You should.
That's what we want as wrestling fans. I mean, heck, my Kane video that's on my channel.
I remember that
That's me popping.
I remember that.
And it's, dude, like, let's say this. Like, I hate I was live when AEW, I thought they were signing him, but I was live when Jeff Cobb showed up for the enforcer for the Inner Circle for once. And I'm a huge Jeff Cobb mark, so I'm popping like crazy. I would have lost my collective shit if I was there tonight.
Yeah, I would have died. I mean, I already lost it enough watching it on TV.
Same.
You know, I instantly pulled out the phone and started messaging all these people who I knew, you know, they weren't able to watch it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, y'all are going to lose your mind when you see this.
Good.
And I mean, it was wonderful, you know. I tell you, nobody can do what AEW is doing right now is they make it painfully obvious that someone's going to debut, right? They make it painfully obvious. And then you're still surprised when they actually do it.
Exactly.
I mean, look at CM Punk's debut. Like,
worst kept secret. They even said it by design.
Right. Like everyone knew it was happening, but then it's just like, wait, is he about to debut? Oh my God, it's CM Punk! You're surprised, like you didn't know. And you know, I've just never seen a company not say it, right? Because they never said CM Punk is debuting tonight. Never said it. We all knew it. They never said it, and we were still surprised as if we had no idea. Exactly. It's perfect. It's flawless execution.
Yes.
I think part of what it is, you know, when he left WWE after the Royal Rumble, you would always hear, "Oh, he'll be back by this pay-per-view, that pay-per-view," and he didn't come back. And then, of course, he's fired on his wedding day, and you still would occasionally hear Punk's coming back, but after a while, you grew numb to it. But to hear those rumors be spurred up once again, and you're thinking
they felt different this time.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this one smells different. This one smells.
Don't get me wrong. I watched one of his matches when he was in UFC. I mean, I know he was only in 2 matches, but still, thinking he might be able to be successful in the UFC because of his size, and as long as he's against someone who's equal his size and strength, he might be able to put up something. But we all saw where that went. But the rumors flying around with him coming back, I'm thinking I'll only start watching wrestling again if he comes back. I even told a friend, how excited I was for CM Punk's return. He's all, "I thought you grew out of it." I said, "I stopped watching it because CM Punk and Daniel Bryan weren't wrestling on a regular basis anymore. In CM Punk's case, he wasn't wrestling at all." And then, to see him return on Rampage and go, "Holy shit, it's happening."
Yep. That awoke something in all of us.
Yeah.
It was never a phase. It's a lifestyle.
Exactly. And I'm the nerd who stayed around, so I know exactly what we're talking about on that. But the idea of after staying around and seeing it, the reason that you would leave is they did have people leave, but they didn't have a sufficient replacement or a sufficient person that you would watch after that. AEW right now, it's like these guys are here for us now, and this is the now. In the future, I'm not worried for them.
Right. Because there's a whole line of people that they're treating. And I want to just make one note on that, though, Phoenix, is that in WWE's case, it's not that they didn't have the people to take their place. It's that they weren't promoting them to take their place.
Agreed.
They weren't preparing them. I'm going to level with you. I'm a Zack Ryder mark. I love Matt Cardona. I think he does great things. And I mean, yeah. I mean, and he is a perfect example of WWE saying, "Hey, kid, get yourself over." Well, I got myself over, and you took it away from me. So why? He was as over as it gets.
Oh yeah, no,
and they squashed him. So you have a guy in, him and other people like Dolph Ziggler who just have been completely misused. And I'll be honest with you, I think even The Miz is halfway decent when he wants to be. But you have a whole slew of people who could have taken over when these people left, and you
didn't do it.
Send John Cena out. Oh, send Roman Reigns out.
I couldn't see him when he came out, though. That was the problem.
Right. That's the thing. Nobody's going to watch because you can't see anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's air with music.
It's just a one-man show.
Well, not only that, getting back to, when Zack Ryder was putting himself over with his own YouTube show and, the Internet Championship. I remember when Scott, Rasheen, and I went to the Raw taping 10 years ago, and Zack Ryder was one of the guys that came out for a Fatal 4-Way match. As soon as his music hit, I'm all, woo, woo, woo! I'm marking out for the guy.
As always, follow me on Twitter, buy the brand new Broski t-shirt. I had that shirt. I still have that shirt. I have the Broski t-shirt, dude.
Yes.
It was a great time.
Did you download the song, though?
You know what? I did download the song.
Okay.
I did.
I even downloaded the fan-made version. The
fan-made version was good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was good. I loved it.
So
but yeah.
good.
No, I mean, so it's AEW is taking their mid-level talent and they're handling them properly so that when the spot does open up, when the time comes that Miro does drop the TNT title, he's ready. He's good to go. He's gonna be believable that you could put him up against a Kenny Omega today.
Yeah,
and I'd buy that.
Totally on.
I'd be like, dude, Kenny Omega's about to get his ass whooped.
Yeah,
like it's going down. We got a double champ coming right now. So yeah, it's believable. It's 100% believable that Miro's not the TNT champion because he can't be the main card champion. He's the TNT champion because right now he's chosen to be the TNT champion. That's where he set his sights.
God chose him to be the champion.
Exactly. So, I think that's the difference is that they're promoting their mid-card talent far better,
Mm-hmm.
It makes you want to watch them.
It does.
You already want to watch them. They're making it special.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't, they don't treat them like second-class citizens either.
Agreed.
Like in WWE or, some other promotions as well. If you're a mid-card talent, you're viewed differently. You're treated differently. You're booked differently. You're not allowed to be in the same matches. You're not allowed to be, booked the same way. AEW, you are what you are. And, they'll put you in those same matches. So
worth it.
It makes it better because you look at someone like Kenny Omega, like he's been in so many he's been used in different ways. He was a tag team champion, he was competing for the world championship, didn't get it, was a tag team champion. He's been putting over younger talent. He's been doing his own thing. And now he's having this incredible world title run. And it's just when you take somebody in AEW who was in the main event and you put on the main, look at Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley carried them through COVID.
Oh yeah, Jon Moxley's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. And nobody views him as any less now that he's not doing main event matches. You still see him as the same Jon Moxley that he could go again, same as Miro. He could go tomorrow and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm actually back in the main event now. We're doing this." And it's like, "Oh shit, he's gonna go fight Kenny Omega." I believe it.
I would watch it right now.
It's the difference. It's the difference maker is that AEW doesn't devalue their mid-card title.
Exactly.
Speaking of devaluation, go ahead, Mike. You go first.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Are you sure? Speaking of devaluation, I just want to make a quick note. I appreciate the fact that they let the main event be the title match.
Agreed.
I know that CM Punk was the big sell here. I get that. I know everybody in Chicago came to see CM Punk, but when you put anything above your main event title, you state that that's more important than your most prized possession.
Agreed.
I really appreciate that they didn't do that.
Same.
And what I was going to say is there was a time in WWF, WWE where if a guy had the Intercontinental belt, then he was in line for a title shot and possibly a title run in WWE. Now they have so many freaking belts, it's meaningless. It doesn't matter if you're a tag team champion or, a singles champion. It doesn't mean anything like it once did.
Agreed.
I agree.
And I really hope that AEW doesn't go the same route as WWE and introduce this championship here, this championship there, because it's going to water down their product too much.
I agree. I think with their current TV time structure, they have the perfect amount. Two singles titles and a tag title is great. If they eventually do end up getting a second hour for Rampage, I do think one more title wouldn't hurt them.
They are. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, by all means.
They are shooting around a trios title, so that I'm kind of cool with a trios 3-man 6-man tag title.
That'd be interesting.
Really nice to see.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But I agree with you. If they had more time, right now they're sitting in a good spot.
Yeah, because they have the talent. They have the numbers. They have enough people right now that one more title, I don't think would kill it. As long as they had an extra hour of TV time. They have the people. They don't have the time.
Agreed.
Or even, what I would be down for is maybe even an AEW Dark Championship.
Why not?
Yeah,
Give them something to run for.
The Internet Championship.
Zack Ryder shows
up. You know what though? Crazier things have happened. Things have happened. So,
Agreed.
I think have like an undercard that NXT or not, and like an NXT title kind of thing, but with AEW Dark. I think that would be something that they could do. Because they have some big name people. I mean, they had Pac versus who was he up against in AEW Dark recently? I don't remember, but it was a good match.
Yeah,
it was a good match.
All of his matches are good.
Yeah, I mean, it was decent, and they had Evil Uno versus QT Marshall. I mean, it was. I don't like Evil Uno. I don't care for the Dark.
I like him and Stu when they're together when it comes to matches. I think that the Super Smash Brothers always play off each other well. Yeah, and their fatality finisher is one of my favorite finishers of tag team.
I do dig that, but it was a good match. It was a good match. They did well. So I think one more title would be good, just so that you can kind of showcase some of your lesser known talent a little bit better.
Give them something to chase.
And give them something to chase. And to Mike's point, give them something to kind of help carry them to that next level. Give them something that gives them a little extra, something to boast, something to run with, something to hold on the shoulder, make them look pretty, like shine them up a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, going forward, what would you guys like to see from AEW in terms of what we saw tonight? What would you like to see continued? What would you like to see discontinued as far as programs?
I'm to be completely honest, I'm such an easy mark and I'm such an optimist for this that I just want to keep them on the same track. They obviously know where they're going storyline wise, and I'm surprised, which is amazing. I haven't been surprised since I was a kid when it comes to wrestling.
I agreed. I do have a couple things on my wish list. I think that with this, I think we have a pretty conclusive Kenny Omega and Christian. We can end that. That needs to be done. It's like I said, this match was fantastic. This is the peak. It's not going to get any better than that. Yeah. Their actual promo rivalry has been really boring, in my humble opinion. Yeah. Not to either of them's fault. It just, they don't work well promo wise together. But the match was fantastic. So I would like to see that come to an end. I don't really have anything for the factory, but I definitely want to see Miro and Kingston get a little bit more TV time. Keep that up. We need to focus on that big time. Can't emphasize that enough, that we need to focus on that.
Agreed. That and Hangman Adam Page needs to come back.
Yes. Kenny. He's always gone. He's always missing. What the heck?
I think they were worried about pushing the Hangman Omega match with all these debuts because they didn't want to get overshadowed.
Yeah.
Which totally makes sense, but I think that Hangman is the one that needs to take that belt.
I agree. I think that that's another name that gets lost in the kind of forest of all these fantastic names. Is, there's a lot of dream matches still to be had, and he's going to be a part of a lot of them.
Oh God.
But I definitely want to see. I want to see one of two things. I want to see either CM Punk and Bryan versus the Young Bucks, or, all right, you think that's something, right? I'm gonna one up it.
Let's hear it.
CM Punk and Bryan versus Adam Cole and Kenny Omega.
I'm in.
Okay,
let's do it.
I'm buying that pay-per-view.
Book it. I'll buy the T-shirt.
Let's call Khan right now. T-shirt tomorrow on AEW shop. That was the best sign in the crowd.
Yeah,
that was great.
I noticed that. I'm going, they're on point.
Yeah, it's great. But
with Adam Cole debuting tonight, Daniel O'Brien, Bryan Danielson, I know
it's fine.
It's an old habit.
Just give me yes. Just give me yes. Yes.
But tomorrow night's Raw. Not that I'm going to be watching, but do you think Vince is going to have a response? Do you think this was enough to make him realize AEW is competition?
Do they have pay-per-view in the old folks' home?
Agreed. Now, here's the biggest thing is, it should be. Will he? Probably not. No. If they were smart, they should have it, but I don't believe that they're still in that bubble where they don't believe they have competition.
Yeah. And the reality is, it's going to be one of those things where they're going to disregard it and they're going to allow it to get to the point where it's a threat.
Yep.
Because if you look back when TNA made its big push, and TNA made a great push, I think it was back in 2010, 2011, where they made their they made a fantastic push. They really, really put WWE on notice, but WWE took it seriously and they put it out.
And now this is that perfect storm to hit them right in the hull of their boat where they're like, oh, wait, we didn't expect this.
Yep.
Now it's like, guess what? And also there's a groundswell. There's people who want what they're selling more than anything. Like when you sell at the United Center, that's not easy.
No. And go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with Scott.
Oh.
With that crowd at the United Center, I mean, think about how hard it is to sell out a stadium for something like WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But to sell out an arena like the United Center, where I can remember watching WCW and WWF back in the day, you would see WWE in the small arena just so they could fill it up and make the crowd look as large as they needed it to look. Meanwhile, WCW is in the United Center and everybody is hyped. Everybody is pumped. And the place is packed.
Exactly.
I will say, I think the big thing that's going to make a difference is let's see if they can do it again in 3 months.
Yeah.
And just to be a realist, not to be a downer, but just to be a realist. Because again, everybody knew CM Punk was coming, right? So everybody wants to be there. Do it again in 3 months, and we'll talk about how much of a competition we're going to be. But I do think that this is the turning point. If anything is the turning point, it's this. It's tonight. And like I said, if WWE doesn't take it seriously now, they're going to allow it to form into something that they can't stop.
Agreed. And then also,
call it now.
Sorry, you call it first. I'll come after you.
That during these next 3 months, as you're saying, DJ, we are going to have some debuts that we're expecting and some that we're not expecting, and that's going to move the needle even further in favor of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't know with the COVID restrictions what's going on with it, because I know that's why they pushed Brian to All Out. The Arthur Ashe Stadium is going to be a big one because that's a stadium, literal, like a stadium in New York area. Let's see what they do with that.
Yep.
Let's see what they do in WWE's backyard, because we all know New York is WWE's home state, and they've been able to sell out Madison Square Garden for years. Well, let's see what happens when AEW steps foot in their territory and puts Vincent K. McMahon on notice.
Agreed.
I will say this, though. As we've seen recently, Kevin Owens has had feuds with Roman Reigns. And now it looks like Finn Balor is going to have a feud with Roman Reigns. And they did tease the arrival of the Demon.
Finally.
Don't be surprised if Finn Balor awakens the Demon and wins the title.
He should. Why not? That would
Don't
be
be
great.
surprised.
He's over. He is. The man is completely over.
He is 100%, and he should have had that. He should have held that title. I mean, it's unfortunate that he got injured when he got it, but don't be surprised, because WWE knows that if they want to win this battle now, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, those are going to be the people that they need to rely on.
Agreed.
They're right there. They're right there. Kevin Owens has held it before. Finn Balor's held it before. They're going to have to hold it again. They're going to have to hold it again, because otherwise they're going to lose. Yep. They're going to need to get somebody that we want to see.
Yep. Exactly.
Because you take folks like us, and if we say, "Oh, Roman Reigns is champion," pass. Cool. I'm not even going to turn it on. Forget changing the channel. I'm not even turning it on. But if you tell me Finn Balor's the champion, okay,
I might tune in.
I might tune into that. You tell me Kevin Owens is champion, I'm definitely tuning in, because I'm a Kevin Owens mark.
Oh no, I've been back since Steen. I remember
exactly.
ROH. I was in.
Yeah, man. Some of his matches with El Generico, I mean, were just something else.
Him and Stone. I've been watching that recently.
Absolutely. He's got some classics, and that guy he's my personal favorite wrestler of all time.
He's amazing.
So
Kill Steen kills somewhere in the closet right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I still have my Kevin Steen shirts from ROH.
Hell yeah, dude.
So don't be surprised if WWE makes one of those things happen, because they know that that's the only way they're going to pull those viewers back. The viewers that they're losing to AEW right now, that's how they get them back.
Agreed.
That's how they keep it a fight.
Damn right.
But the question is, will those viewers want to come back? Because those viewers also know how WWE is. They may change their ways for a little bit, but Vince is so, content in staying in one bubble that he'll go back to, I'm going to push this big guy over because he's 6 foot something and he's got muscles from here to, everywhere.
Yeah, no, 100%. As DJ was saying, it's got to be something that we enjoy that's going to get us popped in. But comparatively, it's going to be a hard sell. It's going to be a super hard sell.
Yep, because AEW can get you to pop in, and then they get you to stay.
Yep, exactly.
The question is, WWE gets you to pop in, can they get you to stay? Because if they get Finn Balor to win the title, and then he holds it for 3 weeks and drops it, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Fun 3 weeks. All right, I'm going to head out.
Yeah.
But,
And same reason I was a Fiend mark. I really did like watching Bray Wyatt as the Fiend.
It was good.
And I would watch things for that. They got rid of Bray Wyatt, who is doing the best work of his career.
Yeah.
Sorry, that lost me a good bit right there.
Yeah. I would love to see him come in and do something with the Dark Order.
Oh, it would be so good. And I'd love to see him almost like half of what the Fiend was supposed to be.
That's what I want. You know, I don't want it to be full Fiend, but like I just feel like they're suffering without Brody Lee. You know, the lack of a true leader. You know, no disrespect to Evil Uno. I know he's doing his best, but man, those are tough shoes to fill. And I'm not saying that Bray Wyatt is a Brody, but man, if anybody can do it, it's Bray.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got those leadership, scary, evil qualities that
he can actually turn him heel again.
Absolutely,
because
yeah, exactly.
There's no other way they're ever going to be heel again after that.
No,
after the tribute show.
No, you know, it's just not going to happen. He could come in and like possess him or some shit like that, or brainwash him or something. It'd be good. I'd buy it.
You've already got me to begin with, but like you literally sold me for life if you do this right.
Exactly, and it's AEW, and you know that they will.
I love them.
Yeah,
love wrestling.
Absolutely. I gotta say this before the end of the night. So at the end of the match, before the debuts, I had this pay-per-view sitting at a 4. I'm gonna be honest because it's tough to get a 5 from me, because if I give you a 5, that means that this was a perfect show. You know, like there's it's almost flawless. I'm gonna give you a little grace period because we're human, but I had this sitting at a 4. And then we had Adam Cole, baby, and yes.
Oh.
And that went right up to 5.
All the way.
Right up to 5. I was sold at a 4. I was like, yeah, it's a good 4. It's not a 5, but it's a good 4.
Sell. Like 4 is above average. And then when you hit that 5, you're like, oh my God, amazing.
Yeah. I'm buying it. Buying the DVD.
And those debuts were the perfect bookend for the whole show.
Best pay-per-view ending I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of that really rivals it was Money in the Bank 2011.
Yep.
And I honestly have to feel like this was even better than that.
Yeah, Scott and I were talking about it as we're watching the pay-per-view. You know, that match between CM Punk and John Cena that night, and that Chicago crowd being into it the whole time, you know, that made the match. It made the show. Because everybody was there to see that one match. We got the finish we wanted, and you know, seeing CM Punk go into the crowd and then blow the kiss to Vince as he's leaving. You know, that's another thing that wrestling doesn't do that much anymore, at least from my point of view. Is give you those moments where you look back on it and you go, remember during this match at this event, or at the end of this match, in this case, Money in the Bank 2011, and CM Punk. You know, he wins the match, and then he leaves to the crowd and blows a kiss to Vince. Now, I do think they had CM Punk return too soon. I think they should have ran with that angle for a little while. Had, you know, video clips from Independence before having CM Punk make a return, say, at Survivor Series.
Yeah, I agree.
Didn't let it marinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the good question is that do we now have a moment similar to that where it's going to be, you know, 10 years from now? Are we going to sit here, have this show again and say, man, do you remember All Out in 2021 when Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole double debuted at the end of the show?
I do. It was awesome.
It was so great. Pass my applesauce, bitch.
I can't even follow that one up.
It's perfect, dude. It's perfect.
Yeah, it really is.
So good.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, anything you guys want to talk about? Anything you guys are working on? And
nothing special right now. I got some stuff that's in it's hiding in the background because it's been years since my last album.
Tell me
but
about it.
It's still at that point where I don't want to say much, just for the fact I don't want to jinx it.
I'm jonesing over here, man.
Thank you.
I'm jonesing over here.
I promise you, it's very. I've heard the beats for my next album, and I have the idea, but until I flesh it out, I want to keep it close to my heart.
Well, if it's anything like those jams that Mike was playing at the top of the show, then it's going to be fire.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I promise you, it'll be fire because I'm ready for it.
Oh, I know it will be. A King Pheenix album is like the Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros. You just know what you're gonna get. So
thank you. Somebody's going to get Canadian Destroyer outside of their car.
Dude, put it in the album, man. Put a Canadian Destroyer line in there.
I might just have to. I've been wanting to.
Is there a site where people can still download your albums?
I still rock it on Spotify.
Thank you. If you go to kingphenix.com right now, I'm still rebuilding my site, but it does link to my Bandcamp.
Okay.
And then it'll take you to my Spotify where you can still get my old stuff too.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and put that in there.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Not a problem,
I recommend it.
Thank you.
I like that one song that you released on Bandcamp. I know you said you couldn't release it because of some sort of copyright with like Grand Theft Auto or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember exactly which one it was because we did run into my band RPG unit with our Borderlands song.
No, not that one.
Sad. No, I know it's not that one, but I'm just saying that taught me about copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that song we did.
No.
Man, that thing was a jam, dude. That thing was a jam.
More will be coming.
I hope so. Do a Mortal Kombat song, man. That would be dope. You got the right energy for it. You got the right energy for it, man. Look, I'm sitting here telling you what to do like you don't know.
You should.
I'm just giving you my wish list, man. I'm just giving you my wish list.
Please. I like every bit of it. And there will be a website there when I decide to build one out again.
There you go.
It's working on it.
You know what you are, DJ? You're that manager putting the talent over. You're walking down the aisle saying, my man's going to step into that ring this Sunday and he's going to whoop your ass.
That's it. Man.
And there ain't nothing you can do about it.
That's it. No, but I look forward to it. I eagerly await it. I really do. And just, I, of course, am doing the Over the Barricade podcast. We are live on Twitch with the video broadcast every Saturday. Time, it kind of depends, honestly, just depending on what my day looks like. That's one of the reasons that I opted to doing this. I used to do video game streaming on Twitch, and, due to I work in mortgage, and time and scheduling is not my strong suit in mortgage industry. So one of the reasons I switched to this is due to this freedom of scheduling. So Saturdays, though, you can bank on it. Over the Barricade podcast live video broadcast on Twitch. And then if you can't be there on Saturday, which I highly recommend you do, I work hard on that layout. But if you can't do that, it is a podcast. So we are currently available on Apple Music and Podbean. And trying to think if I don't think there's one over yet, but I'm working on Spotify. I'm working on getting Spotify soon.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I try to drop those episodes every Sunday. I'm going to be honest with you, with all the hype for All Out today, I missed it today. So episode 2 will be going up tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, please give me a follow on Twitter, and all updates will be on there. So
hell yeah.
I rock Twitter.
I'll put up your Twitter as well, my brother.
Appreciate it, good sir.
Not a problem.
You got it.
I'm figuring it out. 1 second.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm having a good time with it.
We're all a bunch of wrestling nerds and nerds in general, so we're just gonna go. It's somewhere in that general area.
If you look somewhere down in the description.
But no, and I just want to go ahead and throw it out there. I would love to have either of you either at the same time or individually on the show at some time. It'd be great. It'd be great.
Yeah, let's figure that out. Like I'm saying with you is like my I work in tech. So
what's up?
So I work in tech, so that's where I left to do now.
Oh, okay.
So my schedule is always ridiculous, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah, man. Anytime you got a free Saturday, you just let me know.
Oh yeah, brother. That'd be awesome.
And of course, Mike, I know you've been watching, so if you're ever free and you want to come on and talk about the state of AEW through the week, I'd love to have you.
All right.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Be happy to join.
Hey,
and that's another thing. We're all finding things that we like to do, and doing a stream like this is fun to do because it lets people know what else we're all into and what we're doing in our spare time. Who knows? They might come back.
Damn right.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
And Scott, I'm gonna go ahead and share your Twitter if you don't mind.
Not a problem at all. Share all of them.
You know, we're just like one big Bullet Club over in here.
I do love, before we go tonight, that friggin' triple kiss on the back of Adam Cole.
Oh, yeah, that was wonderful. That was wonderful.
So there's your too sweet moment.
Yeah. That whole thing was just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I cannot wait for Dynamite now.
Oh, yeah. Same. It's going to be incredible.
I tell my boss I'm not coming in for 2 days. I want to just wait for Dynamite. They can feel free to pay me. It'll be all right.
And don't worry, gentlemen. I will put all your links in the description down below.
Appreciate it, my brother.
Not a problem. But yeah, I mean, this pay-per-view, it's definitely reignited my love for wrestling.
Hell yeah.
Something that WWE tried to squash, but there was still an ember there, and AEW said, hey, we're going to take that ember and we're going to reignite it.
Goddamn right.
It's definitely the first time I've ever paid full price for a pay. Well, not ever, but it's the first time I've bought a pay-per-view. So pre-WWE Network, where it was just $9.99.
Mm-hmm.
I have not paid for a pay-per-view since the days of Daniel Bryan's world title reign. It's been that long. It's been that long.
So we're talking 7 years almost.
Easily.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, it was back WrestleMania 30, you know,
mm-hmm.
that year. So it's been a minute.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Feels good.
See, it was one of those things when he went against Triple H and Batista in that year's WrestleMania, the Yes Movement, it was the momentum he needed, but it was also the momentum WWE needed to get the fans' attention. And it worked. It was an example of it working. If WWE would just give their wrestlers time to find their footing and, engage with the crowd, whether they're a face or a heel, give them the time that they need to get over, then who knows what they might have. But WWE likes to keep it simple. They like to, have quick matches, 5-minute matches, and not allow wrestlers to show their full ability. And that's what you need. You need to see the wrestlers' full ability instead of seeing them do a limited moveset. John Cena, 5 moves of doom. You need to see more than that during a match in order to be entertained. That's just my thought.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Well.
Yeah, sorry. I think we're at that point where we're all kind of tired.
Yeah.
It's like, think of something to say.
It's that point where it's just like, you got to kind of just give it that have a nice day moment.
That's all, folks.
Yeah. I think we should wrap it up on this note. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on. If you ever want to come on a live stream that I'm doing, please come on. Even when, if I'm in the middle of a live stream, you want to pop in and just, pop in and say, hey, Mike, got time to talk? Yeah, sure. Pop in.
Dude.
Let's talk.
Yeah, I'd love to. I would love to.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. So this will conclude this episode of Pacific414 Pop Talk. I want to thank my guest tonight, King Pheenix and Quidman Jenkins from Over the Barricade podcast. Thank you all very much. And if you don't like it, well, I don't know. What are we? The PKQ? Kind of like the NWO, or are we just?
You might not like it. Are we just to love it?
If you don't like it, but you just spent 2 hours watching it, then I envy your free time.
Yes, I would love your free time.
Or are we just like the Blue World Order, a bunch of goofballs?
Let's just keep the Blue World Order going. I'm down.
That's apt.
All right. I think next podcast I should wear my Blue World Order shirt.
I have to go buy a new one. I
have to get one. But yeah, good times, y'all. Good times.
Oh, yeah,
good times. Thanks, guys.
Hey, no problem.
Thank you all.
Brother. Later, y'all.
Later, taters.
Later.